Welcome back to NPTEL online course on Introduction to Complex Biological System. I will discuss about immune system, the host defense mechanism in this module, module 10. And in this lecture, I will be focusing on our immune system, mostly the introductory part. And here we will learn about the early insights into the mechanism of immunity, followed by origin of vertebrate immune cells. We have different types of immune cells. So from where they are coming, so I am going to discuss that, and I would also like to discuss in this lecture about the special features of our immune system. And in the subsequent lectures, I will be discussing, in a more focused way about our different types of immune system, including innate immune system, adaptive immune system. But before that, I will explain what is innate and what is adaptive immune response. So here, immunology, the beginning. Let's start from the very beginning. In 15th century, dried crusts from smallpox were either inhaled or inserted into small cuts in the skin. So I should mention that smallpox, it's a viral disease and it's a very lethal disease also, like very infectious. And generally, if smallpox start, then the fatality rate is very high. Many people died long back because of this smallpox. And as you can see here, in 15th century, maybe even more, this is whatever some kind of records available. So what they used to do, like during pox, whatever pox you know now, so like this is chicken pox, like generally we say this chicken pox, but this is not chicken pox, this is smallpox I'm talking about. And after the smallpox, whatever that dried crust on the skin, so those crust kept dried, and maybe 1 year later it is used to inhaled or inserted into small cuts in the skin, and this process is called variolation. So what I'm trying to say that there should not be live virus available there. Rather, whatever this dried crust coming from this smallpox infection from that particular patient, that is being used, and it is somehow protecting the new person where it is getting applied. And if you see more scientifically, and in a more records are available, that Edward Jenner demonstrated that inoculation with cowpox protects against smallpox in 1796. This is a, I would say, great discovery. What Edward Jenner noticed that particularly milkmaid, okay, so people who used to work in dairy farm and they are they are doing some milking and all those kind of stuff, they found, like particularly Edward Jenner noticed that those milkmaid, they are not getting this smallpox disease. So he thought that means during that time the cowpox, it's another disease. It is also viral disease, and cow is their host. And now this milkmaid, they are getting this cowpox because they are working with this cow and milking and all those stuff. And somehow this is protecting those person. So as a result of that, what Edward Jenner, so here Edward Jenner, so he did, like he demonstrated that inoculation of this cowpox protect from the smallpox. And this process termed as vaccination. And the same term we also use now, right? So here, why vaccination? Because this vacca means cow. So vaccination. So the idea is that means this cowpox virus somehow creating something in this milkmaid so that they are getting some kind of protection from the smallpox virus. Okay. And this is the starting point of vaccination. And later on, in 1880s, Louis Pasteur, he demonstrated that the weakened or attenuated strain could be administered to protect from the specific strain causing disease. And this is vaccine. So now you know, like a lot of vaccine available in market, and some of the vaccines are mandatory, like all of us we need to take. So many of them are attenuated strain. So this way the field developed. So the immunology field developed. But what is the mechanism, how it works, that like those things were not known during that time, but gradually we will learn how it is actually working. So since I started with smallpox, let's see. So smallpox officially eradicated in 1980, although you will be seeing that it's mentioned here 1979 here. As you can see, this is 1 year some kind of issues there I have taken from a very standard textbook. I will refer at the end. But anyway, that is not create any understanding issues. The idea is, if you see here, we are showing from 1965 to 1980, and in y-axis you can see number of countries with 1 or more cases per month. Cases means here the smallpox disease, right? So as you can see, in 1965, almost 30 countries they reported smallpox, and over the time by 1976, there is after that no smallpox reported, the occurrence of smallpox. So therefore, and after few years, World Health Organization, they reported, like they declared that it has been eradicated, the disease has been eradicated. And this is the great success of vaccination, I would say. For example, I would say, I would just like to mention that smallpox vaccination was so successful. Like if you are, I would say, very young, whoever listening, like going through this course, you might not see the vaccination. But if your age is, I would say, above 40-45 years, like, or you can see in your parents' arm, generally in the left arm, in this region, like I also have this. So you will see some kind of scar here, the scarification it is called. So that way, like this smallpox vaccination was done. So generally you will be seeing in the left arm somewhere here. So as I mentioned, I also have that. But most of you, if you are first year students, right? So if that is the case, first year or college student, you will not see in your arm. You can check with your parents. And this vaccination successfully eradicated smallpox from the world, right? So that is a great success, I would say. And in this case, I would like to mention that whatever the stock of this smallpox was there during that time, when who declared that it has been eradicated, all those smallpox virus stock was destroyed or transferred to 2 laboratories, like who designated laboratories. So one is in United States, that is Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and the another laboratory in Russia, that is called State Research Center of Virology and Biotechnology. In these 2 labs, still this virus is there, the stock is there. So anyway, let's see about what is happening here. The first insight into the mechanism of immunity. Whatever I discussed until now, this is just how vaccination protect us from a particular disease. But now, how our immune system work? This is here I am going to discuss. So Elie Metnisov, so he discovered that phagocytic cells that are present in our body, it engulf microbes and some foreign particles, and that's why we have this immunity. Immunity means, the protection power against pathogen, against disease, that is called immunity. So as a result of that, Metnikov mentioned that cells confer immunity. On the other hand, almost at the same time, Von Behring and Kitasato, so they discovered that blood sera could transfer immunity. What is blood sera? So blood sera is the liquid part of the blood. Okay, so the liquid of blood confer immunity. See, these two are contrasting. One group is like mentioning that cells confer immunity, some cells, particularly phagocytic cells, and another group is saying that liquid of blood confer immunity. So then what is the correct one? Whether what confers immunity, cells or serum? This is long time back, as you can understand, but now we came to know both are very important. Sera, that means serum, and cells, both are indispensable for this immunity, and they protect us. So first I should mention what is cells and serum, because that will be more clear to you. So for example, if you take in this tube, if you take blood sample, right, that you just draw some blood from some individual, and this is, I would say, nothing but this is blood. Now, if you centrifuge this tube in a proper speed, then what will happen? You will be seeing that some cells are at the bottom. So these cells are much heavier, and this is our RBC, red blood cell, RBC. And then it's all liquid, right? So here you have solution. You will get some cells here also. Those cells are white blood cells. In that speed, the RBC only settle at the bottom. This is white blood cell. White blood cells, they are mostly the immune cells present in our body, in our blood. And on top of that, you have this liquid. This is serum. Whatever I am saying, that this serum or this sera, the same thing, serum. So as a result of that, what I am trying to say, at the beginning, this group of scientists, they mention that cells, and the other group, they say serum, they confer immunity. And I would like to mention here, both of these groups, they received Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine. Particularly, I would like to mention that Von Behring received Nobel Prize in 1901. This is the first Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine. Okay, it's Physiology and Medicine. This Nobel Prize started from 1901. So this is in that category. This is the first one. And Metnikov also got Nobel Prize in 1908 for their work. So this is beautiful work. But let's see what is happening in more details. Now, I just mentioned what is serum and what are those cells present. But in our body, as I discussed in different module, different types of cells present, and those cells, all those cells, they started from a zygote. Particularly, I am talking about our system, right? From zygote, and then followed by those zygotes are proper stem cells, pluripotent stem cells, and it is differentiated into many different types of cells, different types of organ system actually formed in our body. Let's see from where these these immune cells are arising. So now all these immune cells, I would say the cellular components of the immune system, they are coming from bone marrow. Okay, and bone marrow, they are multi-potent stem cells. Although this is mentioned here pluripotent, So, but as I mentioned before also, pluripotent generally we refer that cells which can give rise to all cell types present in our body. So, for example, the zygote or at the very early stage of division, right? Those cells, they have the potential to make anything in our body. So, those are, in true sense, those are the pluripotent cells. So, here it will be better to say multipotent stem cells, because these stem cells, these bone marrow cells will give rise to only different types of immune cells, blood cells particularly, I would say, different types of blood cells. And this is called hematopoietic stem cells, okay. This is called hematopoietic stem cells, and they are multipotent in nature. And those are present inside the bone marrow. Now, if you see, over the time, like they will be differentiated and they will form different types of blood cells present in our blood, right? What are the different types of blood cells? Immune cells as well as red blood cells, all are present there. Let's see. So now, initially, they can get differentiated into lymphoid progenitor and the other one is myeloid progenitor. So, lymphoid progenitor means they will make mostly different types of, I would say like immune cell like T cell, B cells, NK cells, those kind of cells. So, here there are many things. I would like to mention, if you don't remember all those things, that should be fine. But our basic idea here is all those cells are originating from our bone marrow and followed by some differentiation happen, and finally we get erythrocyte. All of you know this is red blood cell which carry oxygen, right? And platelets, this is again its help in blood clotting. And apart from that, few very important thing you have to remember so that I can discuss the other lectures here. That is, from this lymphoid progenitor we get B cell here, T cell and NK cell. All are very important to remember because they are playing very important role in our immune system. So, as you can see, this is B cell, T cell, NK cell. Particularly this B cell, when they get expanded, like they are actually making antibody, that is called plasma cells. So, as a result of that, that's why I just mentioned this so that we can discuss later part like B cell, T cell, NK cell and plasma cell. Those are the major immune cells. In addition to that, we have to be very careful about these two cells also. They are also very important, macrophage and dendritic cells, right? So, I would say here, so I am just summarizing here. So, B cell, T cell, NK cell and then macrophage and dendritic cell. So, these are very important immune cells. Other cells are also important, but without discussing these cells, I will not be able to explain innate and adaptive immune response. That's why. So, this macrophage and dendritic cell, they are particularly phagocytic cells. And B cell, as I already mentioned, it produces antibody. Later on we will learn all those things. Now, let's see where these immune cells present in our body. I told that all of them, they are getting originated from the bone marrow, and after that what is happening. So, immune cells and the lymphoid organs we are going to discuss here now. So, if you see, so in red color, as you can see, we are just referring that this is our heart. So, that this is kind of reference point. From there you can see all these things. And in yellow color, two things mentioned here, that bone marrow and the thymus. These two are our primary lymphoid organs. So, primary lymphoid organs means particularly here bone marrow. As I already mentioned, all sort of immune cells, they are getting generated from the bone marrow. And here That's why I mentioned that all blood forming stem cells are present in bone marrow and makes B cells, innate cells. Innate cells means here I would say dendritic cells, macrophage, all are innate cells, and all other blood cell types. So those are coming from the bone marrow. Then why we are mentioning that thymus is also primary lymphoid organ? Because this particularly here I am not mentioning the T cells. If you see T cells, they are also originated at bone marrow, but they get matured in thymus. So this is thymus. Okay, this is very close to our heart. So this is thymus. So here those cells are getting maturated. So that's why this is called T cells. Okay, just for to remember that, you can like T stands for thymus, and although B cells, the initial designation was different something, but just for remembering thing that you can imagine that because of it is coming from bone marrow directly. Okay, but this is that way the name was not given at the initial point of time. But now here if you see many other small organ which are like colored in blue, particularly I should mention here that is the spleen. This is a very large secondary lymphoid organ. It's stored a huge amount of immune cells, and apart from that you will be seeing there are many, like for example tonsil, lymph node, and there are many things. So those are actually they are storing or preserved, like keeping all those immune cells. And we have lymphatic duct also, just like our blood vessel which carry only blood. So we have lymphatic duct. So there we have some fluid as well as this that is called lymph. The fluid is called lymph, and these immune cells, they are traveling to our lymphatic duct, right? Particularly I would like to highlight here, for example, tonsil, as you can see, tonsil gland, which is present somewhere here, tonsil gland. So when someone is suffering from fever, for example, right, and the fever is there for a long time, and if you go to check with hospital for doctor's office, then sometime you will be seeing that most of the doctor, they are trying to see by pressing somewhere here whether the tonsil gland is swollen or not, right? So this kind of infection like viral fever, for example, tonsil gland might be swollen. That is not a bad thing. So immune system is working. There are a lot of immune cells are there, and those are kind of a correlation between the symptoms and this all this. This is important. Now, if you see our immune system, I just mentioned from where our immune cells they are formed, and then where immune cells go, like different types of this lymph node, and as I mentioned the lymphatic duct, and also like there are many different types of immune cells. Those are called tissue resident immune cells. They are traveling and they are going into tissues, so that whenever some infection, something coming, they can like they can act on it, right? So now as a result of that, the immune system is a functional system, not an organ system, not like kidney, or not like lungs, something not like that. It is a functional system. It is present everywhere in our body, right? So that we are getting protected. And as you can see, like this is a very complex system which include different parts. For example, skin. I would say skin is also part of our immune system, because it is making some kind of physical barrier. So as a result of that, any pathogen like microbes, they are not able to enter directly in our body. Like we have almost everywhere covering, like by skin. And whenever like you will see like now like some portion, for example this eye, so you will not see like covered by skin, but as even in tear, some kind of secretion present, like some kind of enzymes present which will protect us. They will, like those secretions from the eye, they are killing these microbes directly also, right? And now lining of mucous membrane, this is also physical barrier, and this from this mucous membrane or mucous layer, different types of antimicrobial peptides are also getting secreted. So as a result of that, this is also somehow giving us the protection from this microbes. Then secretion, as I already mentioned, for example, tears and in mucus antimicrobial, and those all are our part of our immune system. And then blood cells, particularly I mentioned different types of white blood cells, bone marrow, from where all these cells are getting generated, and then lymphatic system and lymphoid organ, and at the end most of the tissues, because they have tissue resident immune cells. So everything together, this is our immune system, right? And now the challenges of our immune system. So immune system, they can take care of many things. Let's see. This is a complex system and it encompasses every organ and compartment of the body. So we have to protect our whole body, right? So as a result of that, it should take care of the whole system. And the main objective is to seek, identify and kill invaders. This is very important. So find out and then identify and then kill invaders, because this is one of the very important thing, because this immune cell should not destroy our own stuff. So that's why it is very important that they are properly identifying stuff, right? And then another important thing is highly adaptable in nature. So as you can see that our immune system can act against pathogen ranging from 30 nanometer, right? So what is 30 nanometer? In the last module, in module 9, I discussed 30 nanometer, it can be a very small virus, right? Those small virus, they can be, in this range, 30 nanometer in diameter. And this is kind of surprising. We are mentioning that some pathogen, which is approximately 100 centimeter. Although this is rare, but yes, for example, some, what could be like 100 centimeters, some worm, I would say, right? But still, our immune system can take care of it. So it will destroy this also in a properly functional system. So that's why I'm mentioning this is highly adaptable. And this is the most important thing, I would say, the distinguishes between self and foreign, and mount response only foreign while preserving self. So our immune system should not act against our own body parts, own molecule present in our body, physiologically relevant molecule. No. Then we will develop another type of disease which is called autoimmune disease. So as a result of that, it should properly recognize which one is self. So we should not, the immune system should not work against those self. So it should only act against foreign thing, right? So this is one of the major thing for our immune system. Now, I will go into little bit, complex thing, that immune system generates almost infinite variety of cells and substances. See, for example, in case of human, so we have very long lifespan. If I say like 80 years, 90 years, over the time we get different types of diseases, different types of challenges day to day happening, right? So our immune system can adapt, learn and mount response against that. Most of the time, even we don't understand that. Only a few times we get the disease because we have proper immune system. The immune system is dealing with this pathogen all the time. So as a result of that, most of the time we are very healthy, no problem there. And when immune system is not able to tackle the problem so smoothly that time you might get some kind of disease, depending on the pathogen also. But after some time, our immune system will learn, it will make a different types of, a variety of molecules and substances, and it will clear the infection from our body. Okay, but let's see how it happens. First thing is foreign recognition. As I already mentioned, the immune system should work against the foreign stuff, right? Foreign pathogen, for example. And there could be two different types of response. One is called effector response, and the other one is called memory. So effector response means here to eliminate or neutralize foreign particles so that they cannot cause the disease. Okay, this is called effector function, mediated by our immune system, immune cells. And the other one is memory. This is very important. This is not the memory, something like what I can remember. I am discussing now, not that memory. This is, I am talking about immunological memory. Okay. So that means the upon second exposure produces enhanced response. For example, if I am infected today by some particular virus or bacteria, my immune system is acting against that virus or bacteria, and after 4, 5, 6 days, I am getting well. I am fine now. But after 6 months or 1 year later, again, if I am getting infected with the same virus or the same bacteria, my immune system will act very fast against that particular pathogen. And that time, I shouldn't have any symptoms. This is because of the memory. Because my immune system actually remember whatever happened 6 months or 1 year before, and they remember those things. They have some components, and next time when I'm getting the same infection, the immune system act very quickly and it can clear the infection. So as a result of that, I will not have any symptoms. I will not have the disease also. So this is because of the immune memory. Okay, and this can be two types. Like this immune memory can be developed because of either active immunity or the passive immunity. I will go step by step. So active immunity means immunity that will generate long-term memory. Okay, and in case of passive immunity, immunity that will generate short-term memory. Let's see with example. In case of active immunity, whatever I explained, the natural one I just explained, that when a person becomes infected by a disease, the body builds immunity against the disease. This is the natural active immunity. This is naturally happening, right? So we are getting infected by some pathogen and our immune system is fighting against that, and over the time that immunity, that memory will be formed. This is the memory because of the natural active immunity. On the other hand, a person can build a resistance to a disease following vaccination, that is artificial active immunity. Okay, so what is the example? For example, like when someone kid, like when I was kid, so I had chicken pox. Okay, so chicken pox a disease, not that much severe disease. It's a mild disease, but because of that suffering, my immune system developed the memory and I didn't have chicken pox anymore. This is the example of natural active immunity. But nowadays, you will be seeing those small kids, they are getting vaccination. Okay, they are getting vaccine against the chicken pox. So as a result of that, they are bypassing the disease. They are not developing the full-fledged chicken pox disease, but their immune system learn how to tackle this disease. So as a result of that, they will not have the disease in future. But this is called artificial active immunity. The memory is formed because of the artificial active immunity. Okay, this is because of the vaccination. And now there are many vaccines available, like those are mandatory in different countries. In India also, like for example, like for kids, there are like different types of vaccines available. And then passive immunity. When an infant receives mother's antibody, that is natural immunity, but that is passive. Okay. So mother's antibody, how? So I would say infant, when depending on mother's breast milk, so through breast milk, the antibodies, they are also coming to the infant. So as a result of that, that antibody is also giving protection to that baby. So this is passive immunity. And the artificial passive immunity, when a person receives antibodies, for example, gamma globulin injection, say for example, after a snake bite, so this gamma globulin injection, that is some kind of passive immunity, but this is artificial, not the natural one. So this is some kind of overall idea about our effector response and the memory. Now, for today's lecture, this is the last slide. So as I mentioned that today I'm just discussing the introductory part of our immune system. Now, if you see, the protection against pathogen relies on several levels of defense mechanism. So first one is anatomic barrier. As I already mentioned, that skin, which is covering our body, that is anatomic barrier. Oral mucosa. So I would say in our oral cavity as well as intestine, everywhere in the inner lining we have the mucus layer. And in this mucus layer we have immune cells, we have antimicrobial peptides, many things are present there. And then we have respiratory epithelium, intestine like epithelial layer, all those things are part of our anatomic barrier, those are helping us. Then we have complement system and antimicrobial proteins. So all of you know about antibodies, right? So antibodies, they are part of our adaptive immune system. I will discuss it later. Complement is also very important. We have around 30 different types of protein. Those are together called complement system. And C3 is one of the key complement protein, which is playing very important role in our immune system. And apart from that, there are many antimicrobial peptides present, including defensin and reg3 gamma. All those are very important, I would say, response against some infection, some pathogen. And after that, we have different types of innate immune cells. So those are phagocytic cell mostly, for example, macrophage, as I already mentioned, and also some granulocytes, some natural killer cells, they are also part of our innate immune system. And those are the different layer. Whenever we are getting infected first, so first innate immune system, they are trying to protect us. And over the time, if it is not taken care of, our adaptive immune system will come into place, and particularly T cells and B cells will take over, and B cells will make antibody. You can say like plasma cells also, like same thing, like when B cells get differentiated, get matured, they will make some kind of antibodies. Those are called plasma cells, okay? Plasma cells. So together, all these things together, like innate system, adaptive immune system, everything together, it will protect us from the infection. And this is all about the introductory part. And in the next class, I will be discussing about our innate immune response. And you can follow this textbook. This is a very good textbook, Genoese Immunology. And thank you very much.